You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Bold and Beautiful fans. Next week, there is an insane twist as Brooke Logan grabs the CEO seat for herself while Ridge is grabbing Taylor. It is Belinda from Soap Dirt, and let's talk about some huge spoilers for next week, December 16th through the 20th. But please subscribe if you are not following us, and we're going to dive into some clips for next week's episodes. So at Il Giardino, we have Remy and Will having a very tense conversation. Remember, Will told Remy to hit the bricks and stay away from Forrester Creations and Electra during the workday and during this little confrontation last week where he was just mocking Remy, basically, small town boy. He called him Pizza Boy. That reminded me of his dad, Dollar Bill. You know, Will sounds like he's channeling his dad. When Bill calls Ridge the dressmaker in a mocking tone, boy, that apple did not fall far from the tree. So next week, Remy wants to know if Will thinks he's going to mess things up for Electra. And Will promises that Remy will answer to him if he does. And it turns out Remy already messed things up for Electra. But then again, that is exactly what he was trying to do. We all saw Remy photoshopping those pictures of Electra this week. I think he was putting her in like suggestive lingerie, some of her nude. It was just a whole plot he was doing because Remy thinks LA is changing Electra and he is definitely trying to ruin her new life there, hoping that she'll come back home with him. Remy wants to get her far away from Will because he sees Electra falling for the guy and he thinks that, you know, traumatizing her again is going to bring her back to him like when he got to comfort her before when we saw those flashbacks. So there's a scene in the design office next week with Ivy standing next to Electra as they're facing Katie and Brooke Logan, and Electra is crying and asking why she is being fired. Check it out.
I'm being fired? Why?
If I had to hazard a guess, I would say Electra is probably being fired for, you know, something to do with messing up Forrester Creations' reputation with these tawdry photos of her being posted online right after she was announced as part of the new jewelry line. I don't think Ivy's going to like it. And Electra is crying to Will about it. You know, maybe Ivy can go to Carter. Maybe Will can go to Katie, you know, or his Aunt Brooke. So this also may prompt Electra to tell Will about why she ran away from where she used to live and came to LA to start a new life. Hopefully, Ivy will defend her niece and say that, no, she is a victim. She has a stalker. He's clearly followed her, but it remains to be seen if they will relent. But speaking of unfair firings, am I right? Kind of ironic that a Logan takes control and then fires someone unfairly for something they didn't do. If they don't relent on that, then they really can't say anything about Steffy. By the way, this is one of the first official acts done by new CEO Brooke Logan as she takes the reins at Forrester Creations. And more on that. Next week, we have Eric and Ridge Forrester, Taylor, Hayes, and Steffy Forrester. They're all over to Eric's place, and they are watching Brooke's announcement that she makes about her new role at Forrester Creations. I did a video yesterday, Friday, December 13th, about Ridge turning to Taylor when Brooke betrays him. So I was kind of expecting this already. I mentioned in one of my weekly prediction videos that I thought Carter might put Brooke in the CEO role. So check out what she says.
I will step into my old position as CEO.
So Steffi's got this video pulled up on her phone as Brooke, says she's taking over her prior role as CEO. If you don't remember, yes, Brooke was CEO before, back around, I think it was 1993, when she got 51% of Forrester Creations. That was during the Belief days, that formula she developed so the couture wouldn't wrinkle. She was CEO for a while, and then Eric and Brooke were co-CEOs in the mid-2000s, around like 2005, I think, when they were married for a brief moment and they had I think Stephanie might have been, and CEO, they got her kicked out, something like that. Anyway, this would be Brooke's, I think, third go-round as CEO. So as the Forresters watch this statement she makes on the phone screen, Steffi's jaw drops, Eric is stunned, Ridge turns away disgusted, and what's interesting, it looks like Taylor actually doesn't seem that surprised. And I'm just guessing Brooke tells Carter and Hope that Ridge doubled and tripled down on his verbal bashing and called Hope a slut and demanded Brooke kick Hope out of her little cabin with an ultimatum, her or me. And she said that she had to pick Hope. I'm guessing that's what she's going to tell him. And I think this deal with Ridge refusing to agree that Steffi's to blame and Hope's the mastermind of the coup, which, Brooke's opinion, Steffi's to blame, his opinion, Hope's the mastermind. She's the co-conspirator. But I think that is going to have Brooke flipping over to join the coup crew. And what's interesting is Hope told Carter that CEO office is his now, and he sat in the chair and she perched on his lap. But maybe he'll see that Brooke sitting in that chair is going to help Forrester Creations more than him because he doesn't have a history in the role. And with Ridge and Steffy ousted as co-CEOs, Brooke in that role is continuity because she's a name that fashion industry insiders know, and it's a very smart strategy. That's why I actually suggested it in my predictions. And this is definitely the betrayal that Thorsten Kaye referenced in his recent interview. Something Brooke does that Ridge can't look past, and it sends him scurrying over to Taylor Hayes. Because next week, Ridge gets very close to Taylor. Looks like they may share a lip lock, maybe more. She is who Ridge always runs to whenever things get rough with Brooke. This reminds me of when Ridge thought that Brooke made that CPS call and he just walked out of her house without breaking up, ran to Aspen to hook up with Taylor, and Brooke found out about it after the fact. This is slightly different though, because Ridge isn't believing something false about something that Brooke has done, like with the CPS call. She did this and she announced it to the world. I still doubt Ridge formally breaks up with her first because he usually doesn't. And I just wonder, will Taylor go ahead and kiss him because she loves him so much, or will she tap the brakes? I'm guessing Taylor's just going to go for it and kiss Ridge and do whatever. And next week, Ridge says, "You were right all along." Now, it's not clear if he's saying that to Taylor or to Steffy, but definitely one of them. So we also have Brooke realizing how bad she has made things between her and Ridge because she shows up at the door of the Forrester mansion, basically, knocking and begging Ridge to talk to her. Check that out.
I need to talk to you, Ridge.
I don't know how Brooke thought this would go. She just took over Ridge and Steffi's jobs, and she's working for Carter, the guy that betrayed his best friend and stole Ridge's company. And of course, he'll be furious. And Brooke should know Ridge well enough by now to know that he will turn to Taylor. Maybe Brooke is assuming that he's moved in with his dad, Eric, since he left her house. But Steffy asked Ridge to move in with them at her Malibu place, where Taylor has also been staying. So I certainly hope that Brooke relents on firing Electra because she is a victim and has had dirty things said about her that weren't true, just like Brooke has had in her own past. I can't imagine Ivy's going to like that. But the big takeaway from next week from these spoilers is definitely Brooke agreeing to be CEO and working for Carter. I think Eric and Ridge will really hate her for this, and Steffy will consider it a typical Logan move. I can just hear Steffi's voice saying that. And I also wonder if Brooke's going to wind up sharing an office with Carter, since Hope said that was his office on Friday, and then she locked the door to get busy with her new boss. Katie and Will are on board with the coup because they've both been beating the drum about the anti-Logan vibes at Forrester. And I know fans are torn. It seems like about half agree that the Logans have been disrespected, just like Brooke said. And then another sizable chunk of fans think Hope is the villain and Carter is the villain. And now Brooke has joined the villain side in this and think that they're all wrong no matter what. So good stuff next week for certain.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.